Hey, my name is Shanice, and I am a psychic medium and astrologer. Today is November the 21st, and I am bringing you your daily reflective horoscope. Mars in Scorpio is forming a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. Shanice, what does that mean? I'm glad you asked. I want you to tap into your creative mind, okay? First off, we all know that ultimately Earth and Mars and Pluto and all the other planets are rocks orbiting out in space. But back in ancient times, astronomers were astrologers, and they used to collect data or patterns, look at the patterns of the celestial movements in correlation to earthly events. So basically, they used to look at the patterns in the sky and what the planets were doing and relate them to what was going on in their lives and the people around them. Actually, kings and queens, so royal, they were a part of the royal court. They used to consult astronomers, which were astrologers. Just keep that, have an open mind about it, and ultimately realize that back in the day in ancient civilizations, astrology was used to help map out what's going around us, what's going on around us in our earthly events as humans, and we kind of broke away from it. So keep a creative mind as I'm explaining these transits, okay? Now that we have an open mind and a creative mind, I want you to think of Mars as more than just a planet orbiting in space, a dry planet, a planet that Elon Musk is trying to inhabit, okay? Like, let's think of it beyond that. Think of Mars as energy that represents our desires, the conflict in our lives, the arguments, the aggression, the way that we go about taking action towards things that might make us defensive. Think of Mars as that type of energy, whether you want to think of Mars as the planet itself or just like some sort of fiery ball energy, but it represents those things that I just mentioned. So think of it as that. Mars also represents conflict and wars and arguments, okay? So that's Mars energy. Next up, we have Pluto. Pluto is the energy that represents transformation and destroying anything that feels inauthentic. I personally like to think of Pluto as Phoenix Force in X-Men, Dr. Jean Grey's alter ego, I guess, in X-Men prior to her becoming the Phoenix or allowing the Phoenix energy to take over her body. She fought against it. She wasn't optimized in her, or she wasn't operating in her maximum power or her maximum potential up until she had no choice but to surrender to the Phoenix energy. It wasn't until she surrendered to the Phoenix energy that she became one of the most powerful people or characters in the X-Men comic series. So I want you to think of the Phoenix energy as Dr. Jean Grey becoming the Phoenix. Pluto can be an uncontrollable, unseen force in our lives, but it wants to destroy everything that's inauthentic. So I know you're asking, like, how does this Mars aggressive fighting energy shows up as that, like as that energy in my life? Or how does this Pluto uncontrollable, unforeseen force is showing up in my life? I'm glad you asking, like, I'm glad you being inquisitive and you being studious, because this can show up as the energy around us. If it's not you in your life, it's someone around you. Take a look at what's going on in the world today. We have Pluto in Capricorn at its final anaretic degree in Capricorn, where it has been since 2008. What has happened in our economy, in our lives, in our structures, our governmental structures? What has happened between 2008 and now? That should tell you a lot about what Pluto energy represents, because now it's at the final degree in Capricorn, getting ready to move into a humanitarian sign, Aquarius. So that brings me next to the signs that are involved in today's aspects. So we have Mars forming a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. So Mars is in Scorpio and Pluto is in Capricorn. I want you to think of these signs as the personalities of the planet. Whatever sign the planet is sitting in, that is the personality that it will take on. It will still exhibit all of its characteristics. It will still be the main character that it is, but it will exhibit the personality of the archetypes of the planets. So Mars right now is comfortable in Scorpio. It's in its home sign. It's able to be aggressive. It's able to fight wars and be defensive and take action. Pluto, on the other hand, Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, but it has Capricorn characteristics. So Capricorn is all about structure. It's all about integrity. It's being disciplined. It's making sure there is a structure or some sort of flow within whatever it's ruling in your life, whatever Capricorn rules in your life. The beautiful thing about this is that it's forming, the planets Mars and Pluto are forming a sextile. This is a 60-degree angle that the planets are facing with each other, and they are able to have a very harmonious conversation. So this sextile means that they are able to talk to each other, and the signs exhibit their personalities properly, exhibit their energy properly, and this is a sextile. So a lot of people don't like to talk about sextiles because it's not that strong, but in actuality it is. If it is happening above us, it is happening in our lives. So this sextile can show like sneaky behavior, power struggles, things that are going on behind closed doors that you might not be aware of because it is a sextile. However, since we are aware, I'm making you aware of this energy, this can bring about transformative energy in your life. What I would recommend is you visualizing what it is, what goals, what actions you want to take. What in your life is causing you to have this Mars aggressive, angry energy? What's not authentic in your life? Because both Mars and Pluto are energies that don't like what's not authentic. So what's inauthentic in your life, and work towards that. Visualize working towards that and breaking that barrier so that you can be more authentic. I believe today's energy represents us needing to go after something more intensely. And if you have been intensely going after something, then maybe you need to pull away from it and allow it to happen or formulate in your life. We're going to talk about the moon aspects. It's been a little bit challenging for us to tap into the Pisces energy lately. That's where the moon is today. Pisces represents our dream world, where we tend to escape the lies we tend to tell ourselves. It's been hard to lie to ourselves lately because Saturn, the planet of boundaries, restrictions, it's very harsh lessons. It's typically harsh lessons, or not typically, it's harsh lessons. It's challenging lessons. It's moved into this dream world, and it's allowing us to see the truth in the lies that we've told. And where we've been inauthentic, it's making us change. It's forcing us to change those things about us or about ourselves. For some of us, it might be a little bit hard for us to find ways to escape and have fun these days. But I promise you, it's not a punishment. I promise you, Saturn is not trying to punish you. I like to think of it as like this analogy that I came up with about free will. I think a lot of people have the idea of free will confused or wrong. I think that free will represents the choices that we make to get to the ultimate destination that we're going to get to anyway. No matter what route we take, we're going to get to the same destination, right? So I think that ultimately free will, for me anyway, I like to think of it as like airlines. You're planning a trip and you are trying to plan a vacation and make sure everything is perfect for this vacation. You want to make sure you are selecting the correct airline, and you want to get to your destination safe. And that's where the airline wants to get you safe as well. Think of the airline as the universe. It wants to get you there as well. But you have to look at all of the fees and what you can bring, the baggage that you can bring on, and what's required of you to travel with them, and what you require of them in order for you to give your money to the airline. That's free will. Like, it's just the choices. It's making the conscious choice, the conscious decision to it's the choice, or it's a conscious effort to make new choices in life. It's changing your perspective when you need to change your perspective. It's looking at the ins and outs of a situation. I hope that airline analogy made sense because I think we sometimes can get wrapped up in what we want as humans, but we forget that we are here on borrowed time. And I'm not trying to scare or fearmonger anybody. I just think that we all need to see change on an individual level. That's something that I preach about all the time. So look to see where you've been feeling defensive lately, where you've been feeling like there's a need for you to change something in your life. And it might be uncomfortable for you, depending on your natal chart. You might have a lot of fixed energy, so it's hard for you to like change your ways. But if you do, then it's time for you to tap into other areas of your chart. And if you need help or assistance in figuring that out, you can book a reading with me and I will give you a PDF copy of everything listed in your chart for you to understand. I recently released a astro planner, December 2023 astro planner. It's the last month of the year, and if you are looking forward to 2024 and going into it more intentionally and consciously, then I suggest you download this digital planner to help you with setting intentions and getting a hold of the energy for the day. If you like this video, thumbs up. It will let me know that I should keep putting out content like this. And until next time.